afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Webinar Wednesday. I am so excited that you are joining us today because, it is kind of rainy where I am right now. Hope it's much better weather where you are. But we're excited that you guys are here. If you've been joining us for Webinar Wednesday since, I would say probably December, we've been dedicating Webinar Wednesday to basically a series of webinars where you guys are learning more about the new features and the new products that SchoolStatus is offering. We've had a lot of changes over the last year, all good, all fantastic. And we just want you to know more about what we offer and how you can use it to better help your district and your students grow and thrive. So we've been hanging out with Teach Boost. We've also hung out with SINA. And today I am so excited to talk to you guys about Smore. Well, I'm not going to talk about Smore. Dr. Kara Stern is going to talk about Smore. Hey, Kara, how are you doing?
I am doing good, Stephanie. Thank you. Thanks for hosting me today.
Well, as you know, Kara, everyone is very excited. The number one question that we get over at SchoolStatus is, what about Smore? When is Smore going to be active and live with SchoolStatus? And the good news is, I know that question is already going to come up. It is very soon. We will be releasing Smore with Notify very soon. So this is kind of the perfect opportunity for Kara to jump in, not only explain newsletters, but best practices. So when you do decide you want to add Smore to your Notify account, you have a great place to start. So, Kara, I'm just going to hand it off to you.
Okay, super. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. A little background about me before I dive into this topic. I was a classroom teacher for a lot of years, high school, ELA, and then I became a building principal, and I was a middle school principal for another whole bunch of years. And then I was actually a head of school of a nursery through 12th grade private school for a few years in a rural area of New York, which was quite an adventure. And I found my way to Smore just before the pandemic hit, and I started there as their in-house educator, creating all kinds of content for people in the buildings. And now I get to be doing the same kind of thing for SchoolStatus as well. So it's a great privilege, and it's wonderful to talk with all of you today. So I'm going to dive right in. I know you're busy. I appreciate that you've taken the time to join Webinar Wednesday. And even if you're not a Smore user right now, my goal is to give you some concrete, actionable tips that you can implement right away. Here are the three areas that we'll cover. I hate having slides read to me, so I tend not to read slides to people. I'll give you a beat to read each one on your own and then expand on it. So before we talk about newsletter best practices, I want to take a step back and start with the big picture. I think it's really important to sort of understand the real goal of school communications. My belief is that school communications are about building relationships. If you think about the phrase keeping in touch, it's a very physical phrase and it's reciprocal. To stay in touch, two people have to be in relationship together. One person can't be in touch with someone by themselves. It's a two-way street. So what we're talking about with school communications is we're talking about staying in touch with home adults all year long and using updates as one vehicle for being in relationship with them. Now, the reason I have come to believe that school communications are fundamentally about relationship is because of what I've read in education research. So as you glance over this slide and see these incredible outcomes that come from great parent communication, there's really a single, simple, but powerful reason behind all of this improvement, and it's trust. The more parents hear from their child's teacher and principal, the more they feel in the know about what's happening in the building, the more they feel in the know about what's happening with their child and involved in school life, the more they trust the adults in the building. And that's the key. The more parents trust the adults at school, the more they support their child's learning. And this is equally important for students from immigrant families who are English learners as students whose parents attended the same school a generation back. So the way I've come to think of it is that family communication is as integral to a child's learning and development as choice of curriculum or instructional methods. So now that we've established how important it is to get information home to parents and caregivers, here's your next set of stats. Given these, and I'll give you a second to skim them, what do you think is the percentage of parents who actually manage to put their hands on those flyers? Here's a great visual for the question I just asked. The answer, as my dad might say, is slim to none. The picture on the left gives you a good sense of just how likely a parent is to receive any kind of communication that arrives home in a backpack. Whereas the picture on the right illustrates the ease with which a parent can access a digital newsletter. So when it comes to teaching and learning, we talk about reaching students where they are. Digital communications are about reaching parents where they are. So there are two growing parent caregiver populations in our schools that require digital updates. One group is millennial parents. If you look at this first stat, it means that 80% of this year's second grade students have millennial parents. By the time that group of second graders is in seventh grade, 100% of kindergartners will have millennial parents. For this reason, it's important to think about the communication requirements of the millennial generation, which are quite different from my generation, X, not boomer, which my son persists in calling me, which is the one currently aging out of the school system. So what does this mean for our school communications? Really, it means everything on this slide. And I'm going to tick through each of these. So number one, as the first generation of digital natives, millennials were born into the era of the smart device. Number two, they are extremely active on social media and are comfortable chronicling their lives for public consumption. Number three, they put everything on their calendars. Number four, they are used to posting photos of their kids. And when they see their schools or their camps or other places posting photos of their kids, they take it as a sign of connection, of relationship. With 20% of all students from non-English speaking homes, some percentage of those parents are also millennials. And lastly, millennials have some funny quirks. Like, for example, they hate phone calls. Most millennials find unscheduled phone calls to be rude interruptions of their day. And why is that? It's because millennials live by their schedules, and millennial parents tend to schedule everything, even leisure time. The second group that requires regular digital updates is multilingual or English learner families. And in public schools today, 20% of students speak a different home language. In 3 years, that number will grow to a quarter of all K-12 public school students in the US, 1 out of every 4 students. If parent communication is critical to student success, then parents and caregivers who do not speak English at home must be able to access classroom updates with the same ease as non-English speaking parents. Native English speaking parents. Updates without translation are a barrier to success for EL students and one that schools can easily remove. So I want to move it back to the classroom. As we talked about already, if parents and caregivers trust their child's teacher, what happens? They do a better job of supporting their child's learning. Now, as a building leader or as a classroom teacher, maybe you have an ongoing system of updates in place, maybe you don't, or maybe there's something that needs tweaking. The important thing for you is to assess what's right for your community, decide on a regular system of updates, and then stick to it. What I know now that I didn't know when I was the principal, parent communication isn't what happens when the teaching is over. Parent communications are an instructional decision, and parent relationships are inextricable from student success in school. So if you're a teacher who's not actively working on keeping parents informed, you're not teaching as thoroughly as you could be. So as we talk about faculty updates to parents, part of what we need to talk about is the culture of communication building leaders are fostering via updates to parents and to faculty, and via the time they prioritize for faculty to communicate with parents of their students. So what goes in a classroom update? There's not one answer to this. It's going to depend on the age group of your students and the mission and vision of your school, but there are some very easy non-negotiables that I can show you. These 4 categories are the basics: assignments and due dates, sharing what's going on in the classroom, bringing parents visually into your classroom, sharing a resource with parents. Parenting is hard. Sharing the topic that you're working on with your students, and giving parents and caregivers some, prompts or suggestions for what they can ask their students about. If you do this every week, sooner rather than later, you will get this. Oh. All right, so now we've come to the last segment of this talk. I have 3 minutes left, and I already speak quickly, so I hope I don't go too fast now. I'm just going to share a few tips and tricks for creating updates that parents will really read. And again, these are things that you can do right away, whether or not you're using Smore. So we have become a nation of skimmers. When it comes to sending updates home, it's best to keep in mind that folks are not sitting down to enjoy your update like we used to sit down with a book. You've heard of Blinkist, maybe, the app that reduces great books to bullet points. So that's the model of writing we need to follow. And it's painful. I know it's painful. I started my education life as a high school ELA teacher, so it kills me, but it's the way we get people to read what we're trying to tell them. So let's talk about what that looks like in action. And here are 4 good tips for you to follow. All right, so 1, just like a clear title lets people know what an update is about, good descriptive headers are essential in the body of your newsletter because they make it easier for people to skim on mobile. There will be sections that are more relevant for some parents and sections that are less. If there's no way to quickly tell what those sections are, parents simply won't read the update at all. So headers like the one in this update, important dates, assignments, resources, these are easy categories to repeat week in and week out, making it efficient to duplicate the newsletter each week and update the information. And because we are a nation of skimmers, the dinosaur needs to go the way, the paragraph needs to go the way of the dinosaur. Stick with bullet points and numbered lists wherever you can. It's far, far more likely that people will read the info. And really, that's the thing that we care about. So you can see on the left, it's a big jumble of words. You can see on the right, it's exactly the same information, but organized in a way that you can just run your eyes over it. Okay, every newsletter platform gives you an option to send yourself a test. I am somebody who sends myself test after test after test. So that's not the tip. The tip is this. Send yourself a test, but then read it on your phone. If you find yourself scrolling without actually reading, it means your copy is too long. Go back edit it down to the essentials, and then send yourself another test. Once you're happy with the experience of reading it on your phone, then you're ready to send. And another important stat to remember is that 85% of people use smartphones to access email. And here's the last tip. You know that saying about real estate that it's location, location, location? Well, for newsletters, my motto is duplication, duplication, duplication. Set up your template and each week duplicate it and update the info. It will save you a ton of time. And if you look on the Smore website, I post multiple templates every month specifically for schools, curated with all kinds of resources. And all you have to do is click, duplicate, update. It's really that easy. And here is a final summary slide that sort of pulls it all together for you. And I'm glad to answer any questions. But that takes me to the end. And I thank you all for listening. And I'm turning it back over to Stephanie.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kara. We so appreciate that. I know we had a lot of people register for this webinar. And I know it's because of how many people are so excited about Smore, how it's going to transform their classrooms and their districts, getting that good information out to parents. And I really appreciate you joining me today.
It's a pleasure.
Yay. And like I said before, folks, it is happening soon. You will soon be able to see the Smore feature in Notify. And when I say soon, I mean like, ooh, it could be any time now. We're waiting. But if you have any questions, if you are a current SchoolStatus customer, reach out to us at chat. You can chat with us in support when you're logged into SchoolStatus. And whether you are a current customer or not, that help information is there for you. So email us help@schoolstatus.com or call us at 1-855-9-STATUS. And like I said, it says under contact info, anytime, 24/7. We mean that. No robots at SchoolStatus. We have real, live, living, breathing individuals answering every question you have and 24/7. So talk to us. We're here for you. And it's my favorite time of Webinar Wednesday when we give away a free t-shirt. So I am going to spin my wheel real quick. All right, Amanda Tyndall, congratulations. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to be sending you an email later today or early tomorrow morning with that t-shirt code. So be on the lookout. I will say we have the best t-shirts. I love our t-shirts. Kara, have you gotten a t-shirt yet? We're going to send you one.
I have not.
We're going to send you a t-shirt. Everybody needs one. Yeah. And we are wrapping up our new product series, guys. We've got one more left in the lineup. So introducing Operu Custom Fields. Now in December, we talked about Operu. And they also have had some new features released over the last couple of months that you will be interested in, especially guys, it's field trip season. Let's make all of those forms so much easier with their new updated custom fields. And then June 14th, it is the moment everyone's been waiting for. Now you will have access to new Notify before June 14th, but this is really where we're going to dig deep and talk about it. So need to get the word out, and with Smore, check out new updates to Notify. So everyone, come and join us in May and June. I hope you enjoy the rest of your April. Kara, once again, thank you so much. Kara's in Israel, everyone. So what time is it there now, Kara?
It is 8:18.
She needs to go pack up and call it a night. So Kara, thank you so much for joining us and staying overtime just a little bit to hang out with us. And you will be seeing a lot more of Kara over the next few months with webinars, but also check out her newsletter. She had a really great article in there today. So everyone have a fantastic afternoon.
Take care, everyone.